Callie, also known as number 008 in Stranger Things, was a major letdown. Her role in the series, especially in the final stretch, was completely irrelevant. A lot of people expected her return to have a huge impact, but that just didn't happen. The disappointment is shared by a big part of the fanbase, and I also thought she had serious potential to be one of the key players in Vecna's defeat. Much of the backlash against her character stems from the fact that she was the focus of one of the most criticized episodes in Season 2. Viewers didn't connect with the storyline where Eleven leaves Hawkins to meet Callie and her gang. The sudden shift in tone and setting, stepping away from the familiar Hawkins vibe, pushed a lot of fans away, and that disconnect has lingered ever since. But whether you like that episode or not, there's no denying it played an important role in Eleven's development. Callie was the first person to show her that her powers went far beyond what she believed. Before that, Eleven held herself back. She didn't really know how to control or expand her abilities. Callie opened up a new path, introducing a different way of tapping into her gift. That awakening is what allowed Eleven to close the gate by the end of Season 2. From that point on, she started to understand her limits, her emotions, and the full extent of her power. So yes, Callie did play a key role in that turning point. The real issue was never the character concept, but how poorly she was written into the story. Underused, disconnected from the main arc, and ultimately forgotten, right when she could have been a major piece in the final battle. The potential was there, it just never went anywhere. In the final season of Stranger Things, 2026, Callie's role was practically non-existent. All she did was show up to tell Eleven that, in the end, she would have to sacrifice herself to put an end to the endless cycle of destruction caused by Vecna. Other than that, she did nothing of real relevance. Her only concrete action was creating an illusion to deceive Vecna, hiding the children and helping maintain the illusion that Max still had control over her own mind. And that's it. There were no other impactful moments. What else did she do? Nothing. Honestly, it feels like any other character could have filled that role. If Eleven had spent 5 more minutes with Dr. K, she would have realized that constantly running away, protecting others while staying hidden, would only put more people in danger, and that at some point, she would have to face that reality head-on. Callie's role boiled down to planting the idea of sacrifice in Eleven's mind, something that could easily have come from someone else. She became a disposable tool used to deliver a single message. Either you sacrifice yourself or the world stays in danger. Now, the only scenario where her presence actually carries any weight is if we consider Mike's theory that the illusion she created was meant to cover up Eleven's escape, making everyone believe she had died. In that context, it works. Callie would be protecting Eleven by allowing her to disappear without a trace, even fooling her allies. Only then can we say she had some real purpose in the ending. But even so, it wasn't enough. Callie showed up, said a handful of cryptic lines, planted some doubt, and then was killed by a gunshot from government agents. A death with no weight, no emotion, no build-up. The military arc, by the way, was another weak point of the season, dragged out, predictable, and lacking any real impact. Callie's death was weak. It was already predictable that she wouldn't last long, but there was hope for something more meaningful, maybe even a sacrifice during the battle against Vecna. She had the potential for that. But no, she was taken out early, in a cold and unremarkable way. If it weren't for the possible link to Mike's theory, her presence would have been completely unnecessary. And that's a huge waste of a character who, even if unpopular in the past, still had promising potential to fulfill. You might not like Callie, you might hate the episode she appeared in or think her arc felt forced, but there's no denying her power had insane potential. If it had been used properly, it could have delivered way more impactful moments, both in the fight against Vecna and in her own death, which ended up feeling rushed and emotionally flat. The showdown was way too short. She barely had time to show what she was capable of. Callie's presence could have made a real difference in that battle, but in the end, she was treated like a side piece and tossed aside quickly. The only way her whole character arc makes any sense is if we lean into Mike's theory, the one that says Callie used her power to fake Eleven's death, crafting the perfect illusion so she could vanish without raising suspicion. But beyond that, Callie's role in Vecna's defeat was practically irrelevant. The villain was taken down too fast, without the kind of climax the series had been building up to. And even with a power as visually stunning as hers, manipulating perception itself, she was barely used. We could have seen so much more from her. Eleven, and even Will as a trio. Just imagine them working together with their abilities complementing each other. It could have been an incredible combination, both visually and emotionally. Unfortunately, the show didn't go down that path, and what we're left with is the feeling that Callie's return was unnecessary. It would have been better to leave her out of the season entirely, living her life with her old crew, than to bring her back just to serve a throwaway purpose and vanish right after. She deserved way more screen time, way more relevance, and most of all, a storyline that actually lived up to the potential of her power. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. It really helps us keep bringing you more breakdowns like this, straight to the point. And don't forget, there's another video waiting for you on the end screen. Go ahead and click it to keep the vibe going.